This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Try to hold it in.
All right, welcome back to the War Room. And I have to imagine, if you're listening to this right now, your setup looks a lot like ours.
Oh, for sure. Multiple tabs open.
Exactly. You've got the mock drafts in one tab, probably a little bit of, X or Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days, open in another. And you're just trying to sift through all the smoke.
That's the perfect word for it, smoke.
Because that is what this time of year is, right? It's smoke season. It's misinformation season.
Everyone's a liar right now. Every GM is putting out false flags.
But today, we're stepping away from all of that noise. We're locking the doors. We're turning off the notifications.
We're getting to the truth.
Today, we're doing a comprehensive forensic audit of the MOF Season 85 entry draft.
An audit is the perfect word for it. Because, this isn't the flashy, made-for-TV draft class that we've seen in the last few cycles.
Not at all.
You look at the history of this league, you look at the dynasties that rise and the ones that crumble, and honestly, they usually pivot on a class exactly like this one.
How so?
It's not about the sizzle this year. It is entirely about the steak.
I love that. I'm looking at the stack of documents you've brought in today, and, for everyone listening, it is a literal stack.
We came prepared.
We have the master script positional breakdowns. We've got these incredibly detailed scouting board images with all the letter grades that, usually only the GMs get to see.
Right.
And my personal favorite, we have the internal team needs memos. These are the cheat sheets.
That's the inside info right there.
But before we dive into the specific names, I really want to talk about the vibe of this class.
Right.
The master script uses a phrase that just stuck out to me. Meat and potatoes.
It's not the sexiest term, is it? It's not going to sell a lot of jerseys on day one.
It really isn't. When I hear meat and potatoes, I think functional, I think reliable, but I also kind of think boring.
A little bit, yeah.
I think of a meal you eat because you have to, not because you want to. But looking at your notes, you seem to think this is actually where the gold is.
Okay, think about it this way. If you are a general manager in the MOF and you are looking for a hood ornament,
Okay.
that flashy 99-speed wide receiver who does a backflip into the end zone, or the quarterback who throws 80-yard bombs while scrambling, you might be a little disappointed this year.
Those guys are few and far between.
Very few. But if you are looking to fix the engine of your car, if you need to replace the transmission, if you need new tires, this is the draft for you.
Okay. I see where you're going.
It is trench heavy. It is defense leaning. It is built for the teams that understand that winning isn't about the highlights on social media. It is about controlling the line of scrimmage for 60 minutes.
So essentially, if I'm a team like the Buffalo Bills, coming off that Super Bowl loss, or maybe the Eagles, trying to defend a title, this is the draft where I secure my foundation for the next 5 years.
Exactly. And conversely, this is the draft where bad teams stay bad if they don't understand the assignment.
That's a great point.
If you are a team that ignores the trenches to reach for a skill player who isn't really there, this is the draft that gets you fired. Yeah. You have to take what the board gives you, and this board is giving you size, strength, and defense.
High stakes for a boring draft. I love it. So our mission today is to guide you, the listener or learner, through this whole landscape. We're going to separate the safe bets from the lottery tickets.
Find the value.
We are going to find the scheme fits that make sense, and we're going to figure out why the Chicago Bears, of all teams, might actually be the most interesting team in the league right now, despite their record.
It's going to be a fun ride. And I think we have to start where we always start, the position that drives the entire league.
Let's get into the signal callers, the quarterbacks. The master script calls this group strong and balanced, but it also mentions they are highly scrutinized. To me, that sounds like code for there isn't an Andrew Luck perfect prospect in this group.
That's a very fair assessment. There is no singular God-tier quarterback here. There isn't that one guy where you turn in the card 10 seconds after the clock starts and everyone knows who it is.
No consensus number one.
No. But there are starters. There are absolutely franchise-altering players. However, context is key here. We have to talk about the situation in Las Vegas.
The Raiders. Coach Gooch.
Coach Gooch is sitting there staring at a 5-12 record from season 84. In this league, 5-12 is a lonely, cold place to be.
Oh, yeah. The seat gets very hot.
And when you pull up their team needs memo I mean, QB is printed in bold red letters right at the top of the page.
It's priority number 1, 2, and 3.
They need a savior. They need a reason for the fans to buy tickets next year. They need hope.
So, okay, let's do this. Put yourself in Coach Gooch's chair. You're on the clock. You have 2 very distinct flavors of ice cream at the top of the board.
Great. Vanilla, it's something a little more exciting.
Exactly. First, you have Gene Richter out of Texas A&M.
The safe bet. The vanilla.
I'm looking at his scouting card right now. 6'3", 232 pounds. I mean, if you built a quarterback in a lab, he looks like Gene Richter.
A prototype.
But it's the grades that catch my eye. A, awareness. AB, sack avoidance. I want you to break that down for the listener. Why is A, awareness so critical for a rookie? Because on paper, awareness sounds so intangible. It sounds like something you can't really measure.
It sounds like fluff, but in the MOF simulation, awareness is the processor. It is the CPU of the player. It's everything.
Okay.
A rookie with low awareness, say a C or D grade, he walks to the line, he sees a blitz coming, and the game just doesn't register it for him. He doesn't change the protection.
He's a step behind mentally.
A full step behind. He throws the ball into a disguised coverage because he thinks the safety's playing man when he's actually in zone. He panics. He holds the ball too long.
So that's where the sacks and the interceptions come from.
That's it. Gene Richter, with that A grade, he is basically coming in as a veteran from a mental standpoint. He is going to process the field. He is going to deliver the ball on time. He won't make the mistake that loses you the game.
So he's the guy who hits the singles and doubles. He keeps the offense moving. He's the manager.
Exactly. He's the field general. He's going to get you from first down to third down and hopefully convert. But, and this is a big but, he is not a dynamic runner.
Right.
He's not a statue. He can move a little, but he isn't going to outrun a linebacker to the edge. He needs a pocket. He needs things to be clean.
And that brings us to the other flavor. Peter Morton from Washington State.
The scrambler. The yin to Richter's yang.
You call him chaos theory.
Morton is chaos theory in human form. He thrives when things break down.
I see here he also has a sack avoidance, which is fascinating. But I assume that manifests completely differently than Richter's.
Oh, 100% different. Richter avoids sacks by sliding in the pocket, climbing the ladder, or throwing the ball away. He's a technician. He avoids the negative play.
He negates the pass rush.
Right. Morton avoids sacks by breaking the pocket, rolling out, and making a defender miss in space. In the modern game, where pass rushers are faster than ever, and we are going to talk about some absolute monsters on the defensive line later.
Oh, believe me, we are.
Having a guy who can erase a blocking mistake with his legs,
Yeah.
that is intoxicating for a GM.
It's the bailout factor. It's the ultimate erasure. If your left tackle gets beat, Morton can still get you 10 yards. Richter probably takes a hit, maybe fumbles.
Right. But the trade-off is often consistency. Sometimes the scrambler relies too much on his legs and stops reading the field.
He leaves a clean
He
pocket.
bails on a clean pocket because he's looking for the big run, not the check down.
Hmm.
So here is the gamble. If I'm the Raiders, or maybe the Denver Broncos and Coach Mr. Witness 36, who went 7-10,
Yeah.
do I take the high floor of Richter? Or do I swing for the fences with Morton?
It feels like a job security question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Richter probably gets you to 9, 8, or 10-7 comfortably. He's safe. He'll stabilize the franchise.
Yep.
Morton could make you a Super Bowl contender because of that dynamic ability. Or, if he can't read a defense, he runs himself into trouble, and you go 4-13 again.
High risk, high reward. Versus safe floor, lower ceiling. That single decision defines franchises for 5-10 years.
It really does. But it's not just those two, is it? The master script flags a few other names. I'm looking at the depth here.
The class has some depth, for sure.
We have Cam Shepard from BYU and Connor Webber from USC, both projected as round 1 talents. But I want to ask you about Carlos Hood from Fresno State. The script calls him the improviser. Is that different from a scrambler? It sounds similar.
It is, and the distinction really matters. A scrambler, like Morton, looks to run first when things break down. His eyes come down. An improviser looks to buy time to throw.
Ah, okay. I stay downfield.
Exactly. Think about the off-platform throws. Rolling right, throwing back across your body to a receiver breaking open late. Carlos Hood is the guy who makes plays when the structure of the original play call is completely gone.
So if you have a bad offensive line, and looking at the needs list, teams like the Giants and Commanders definitely do, an improviser might actually be more valuable than a field general.
That's the logic. Richter needs a clean pocket to operate. Hood creates his own pocket. He makes his own time.
That makes a lot of sense. You draft the QB that fits the line you have, not the line you wish you had.
100%.
But here is where it gets really interesting for me. The sleeper. The master script explicitly flags Morgan Barkley from Auburn.
This is a curious case. I've been looking at this one a lot.
He's listed as a field general, just like Richter, but he is projected for round 1, too. He's not in that top-tier conversation. The script says he slid down boards. Why does a guy with A awareness, which he has, right here on the sheet slide?
Sometimes it's fatigue. Sometimes it's what I call shiny toy syndrome. Teams fall in love with the physical traits, the cannon arm, the 4.4 speed, and they overlook the guy who just gets it done.
The boring but effective player.
Precisely. Barkley has A awareness and A/B sack avoidance. The traits were there. He is polished. He just doesn't have that wow factor that Morton does.
So, if you are Coach Mr. Witness 36 in Denver, you went 7-10, you need a QB. Do you reach for a top guy like Richter or Morton? Or do you wait? Maybe you trade back, pick up extra picks, and you try to snag Barkley in the middle of the first or even the top of the second.
That's the savvy move. Or look at the Miami Dolphins and Coach Wheezy Falls. They went 10-7, a playoff team.
Right.
They have a QB need listed on their memo. They aren't picking in the top 5. They probably can't get Richter or Morton without trading the farm. But a guy like Juan Barkley falling to them.
That's a gift.
That is how you keep a winning window open. You get a guy with A awareness who can step in and manage a playoff roster immediately without costing you 3 future first-round picks. That's the Moneyball move.
It's a game of chicken. Who blinks first on the quarterbacks? If the Raiders take Richter, does that start a run? Or does everyone decide to wait for the value guys like Juan Barkley?
It's fascinating.
But whoever's throwing the ball, they need someone to hand it to. Let's move to the skill positions, specifically the halfbacks.
Solid but not elite. That's the tagline for this running back class, and it feels right.
Which usually means buyer beware in the first round. A running back has to be truly special to go top 15.
Absolutely. The value just isn't there most of the time.
But the headline act is Michael Coleman from Washington.
The elusive back. He's the highlight reel guy of this group.
5'9", 205 pounds. He's a bowling ball that spins. He looks great on tape. But, and this is a big but, I'm looking at the scouting card and I see a letter grade that scares me to death.
The carrying grade. That is the red flag of all red flags for a running back. You can be the fastest, most elusive player on the field. You can make 3 guys miss in a phone booth. But if you get hit and put the ball on the ground,
You're on the bench.
you are useless to your coach. It's that simple.
Let's put this in perspective for everyone. Imagine it's the fourth quarter. You're up by 4 points. You just need to run the clock out.
Yep.
Hand the ball to your first-round pick, Michael Coleman. He breaks a tackle, spins, and the ball pops out.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Opponent recovers. You lose. That is a franchise-altering nightmare scenario.
It's a coach killer, especially for a team like the Cincinnati Bengals. Coach Jafon is coming off a 3-14 season.
A brutal year.
They have HB listed as a top priority. They need to establish an identity, something to build on. Can you afford to draft a fumbler when you are trying to change the culture of a losing team?
That's a tough sell. A 3-14 team needs reliability above all else. They need to sustain drives to keep their defense off the field. A turnover just kills morale faster than anything.
It's soul-crushing.
Now, compare Coleman to Scotty Schaefer from Oregon. The master script calls him the power complement.
The thunder to Coleman's lightning. Schaefer's the guy you call when you need 2 yards and you don't care who is standing in the way.
He's the north-south guy.
He's not going to fumble. He'll secure the ball, but he's not going to break the 60-yard touchdown run either. He's a grinder.
So if I'm a GM, I might be looking further down the board for value. The script highlights a value pick, Juan Stockton from Notre Dame.
And I love this concept, the concept of rotational upside.
Explain that to the listener. Why would you draft a rotational guy instead of a surefire starter?
Because you don't always need a starter in the first round, especially at running back. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. Coach QC went 5-12. He needs a halfback, sure, but he also needs a linebacker, a DT, a QB. He has holes everywhere.
He needs everything.
Do you burn a round 1 pick on a running back with fumble issues like Coleman? Or do you wait until round 3 or 4, grab Juan Stockton who can give you 10 solid carries a game and use that premium first-round pick on a defensive lineman who plays every single snap?
That's the resource allocation game. That's what separates the good GMs from the bad ones. Smart teams find running backs later. Desperate teams take some early.
It's a tale as old as time.
Speaking of premium picks, though, let's look at the wide receivers. Because this crop, this feels deep. This feels different from the running backs.
It is incredibly talented, and at the top you have an absolute alpha, A true number one, Troy Lippett from South Carolina.
6'3" hours, 229 pounds. That is a massive human being to be playing receiver.
That's a tight end.
That is basically a tight end who runs like a deer.
He's the physical archetype, and the grades back it up. He's a top 5 projection, A catching, AC awareness. This is a day one starter. This is the guy you draft and you say, go win on the outside. No questions asked.
When we say physical archetype, what does that mean for the gameplay? For how he wins?
It means he wins the contested catch.
Yeah.
In this league, coverage is tight. The windows are small. You aren't always going to be wide open.
Right. Separation is a luxury.
Exactly. You need a guy who, when the corner is draped all over him, can use that 229-pound frame to box him out, to create space, and to rip the ball out of the air.
Yeah.
He turns a 50-50 ball into an 80-20 ball in his favor.
So who needs him? I mean, who doesn't? But let's look at the board. The Buffalo Bills.
Coach Vic's 14. This is an interesting one.
12-5 record. Super Bowl runner-up. That is such a painful place to be. You were so close.
Just one play away.
And their team needs list WR as a priority. That just jumps off the page.
Think about that. You lose the Super Bowl, you spend the whole offseason every single day thinking, if we just had one more playmaker, one more guy who could win a jump ball in the red zone when the play broke down. Troy Lippett is that guy. If he falls to them, or if they decide to be aggressive and move up to get him, that is a terrifying thought for the rest of the league.
It really is. A Super Bowl team adding a top 5 talent at a position of need. That's how you get back there. That's unfair.
It's how dynasties are built.
But it's not just Lippett. We've got Freddie Presley from Alabama. The script says he could outperform his draft position. He's a playmaker archetype. What's the difference there?
A playmaker wins with route running and separation. He's not going to box you out like Lippett. He's going to fool you with a double move and be 5 yards clear of you downfield. He creates separation with his technique.
The technician versus the bully.
A perfect way to put it. And then there's Adrian Alfaro from Texas A&M. We're going to hear Texas A&M a lot today.
They are having a draft.
They are. Alfaro is another physical threat. If you miss out on Lippett, Alfaro is a fantastic consolation prize. He plays that same bully ball style.
Teams like the Atlanta Falcons and the NY Jets are also circling WRs. Coach Big Reg in Atlanta went 6-11. He needs to give his quarterback, whoever that ends up being, some weapons.
You have to. You can't evaluate a QB if nobody can get open or catch the ball. It's impossible.
Absolutely. The modern NFL and the modern MOF, it's an arms race. If you don't have 3 guys who can catch, you're playing with one hand tied behind your back.
You're bringing a knife to a gunfight.
But before we leave the pass catchers, we have to talk about the unicorns, the tight ends.
This class feels top-heavy. Very, very top-heavy.
It's basically Jesus Enriquez, and then a massive drop-off to everyone else.
Jesus Enriquez from South Carolina. Another Gamecock. South Carolina is essentially wide receiver U this year between Lippett and Enriquez.
They really are. Enriquez is listed as a vertical threat archetype. He's 6'4", 260 pounds.
And he has A catching. That's the part that matters.
That's the key. He's basically a tackle-sized wide receiver.
He is a mismatch nightmare. I mean, just think about the defensive coordinator trying to game plan for him. You put a linebacker on him.
He's too fast.
Enriquez is too fast. He runs right by him down the seam. Okay, so you put a safety on him.
He's too big.
Enriquez is 260 pounds. He just bodies him. He boxes him out like a rebounder in basketball and plucks the ball out of the air. There's no good answer.
So, strategic implication here. Let's look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coach Big Dre, 245.
10-7 record. A solid season. They're on the rise.
Their needs list puts T right near the top. But looking at this drop-off, if they want a difference maker, they can't wait, can they? They can't get cute.
No, there is no waiting on this position in season 85. If you want Enriquez, you have to take him early, probably in the first round. If you wait hoping for value later, you're going to end up with a possession tight end who blocks well but doesn't scare the defense.
That's the guy.
There are plenty of guys named Trevino or Parrish later in the draft, but they're just guys. Enriquez is a weapon. If the Jags want to take that next step from good to great, they need to be aggressive here.
Okay, let's move to the main course. We promised it, and we are finally serving the meat and potatoes, the trenches, the offensive line.
This is where the draft is won. This is where you keep your multi-million-dollar quarterback healthy and your running back happy.
The overview simply says, a strong trench class. And looking at the size of these humans, strong might be a massive understatement. Let's start with the bookends, the tackles.
You have 2 absolute studs at the top. Ben Johnson, Colorado, left tackle, top 5 projection.
He's the agile archetype.
Which is exactly what you want on the blind side. You need feet. You need movement. You need balance. He has to mirror the elite speed rushers we'll talk about later. He's dancing with the most dangerous athletes on the field every single play.
And then on the right side, you have Duncan Hookland from Notre Dame, the pass protector.
A different style, but just as effective. He's a wall. He's a fortress. He anchors down and says, "You are not getting past me." He's more about strength than fancy footwork.
So teams like the Indianapolis Colts coach, Mac Daddy, went 7-10. They have LT listed as a critical need. You cannot function in this league without a left tackle. If Ben Johnson is there for them, you sprint the card in.
You don't overthink it for a second. You turn it in, you go get a coffee, and you celebrate. You take the 10-year starter.
But I want to talk about the interior, because there is a scenario here that absolutely blew my mind when I was reading the prep notes. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Coach Bob Durano 7. The benchmark of the league.
They went 15-2. They are a juggernaut. They are contending for a Super Bowl right now. But look at their team needs.
Left guard, right tackle, center.
That seems impossible. How do you go 15-2 with 3 holes on your offensive line? It doesn't compute.
It's not that they have holes right now. It's that they are looking at the cliff. This is what separates the great franchises from the good ones. This is how dynasties sustain themselves.
Explain that.
Most teams, the bad teams, wait until a player retires or gets too expensive to replace them. They wait until the line falls apart, the QB gets sacked 50 times, and they go 4-13. Then they say, "Oh, we need to draft a lineman." That is reactive drafting.
And the Chiefs are being proactive. They're a step ahead.
Exactly. They are fixing the roof while the sun is shining. They realize that to keep winning, they need to refresh the protection. They know their current guys are maybe a year away from declining or a year away from a massive contract they don't want to pay. So they were looking at a guy like Jared Ringer.
The monster from Michigan.
6'6", 344 pounds.
That is a refrigerator with feet. That's not a person.
He's a right guard, power archetype, and he has A awareness.
Think about the physics of that. 344 pounds moving downhill with A awareness. He knows who to hit, and he has the mass to move them against their will. He isn't just blocking. He's road grading. He's clearing a path for the running back that you could drive a truck through.
And then you have Carson LaRubio from Alabama at center, another power archetype, and Delvin Anthony from UCLA at left guard, who is agile. There are options for them.
So if the Chiefs, sitting at the bottom of the first round because they're so good, can snag a LaRubio or an Anthony.
They plug him in. Maybe he sits for half a season. Maybe he starts right away. But the machine keeps rolling. They don't have a rebuild year. They just reload. It's honestly unfair to the rest of the league.
It really is, but it brings up a great point about the power versus agile distinction on the interior, too. Ringer is power. Delvin Anthony is agile. Does that really matter for the listener at home? They're both guards.
It matters immensely. It depends entirely on your scheme. If you want to run power O, drive blocking, where you just line up and mash people, you want Ringer. You want the mass. You want the bulldozer. But if you run a zone scheme, where you need your guard to pull, to get out in space and hit a linebacker at the second level, you want Delvin Anthony, you want the dancer. If you draft the wrong archetype for your scheme, you are completely wasting the pick.
So a 344-pound guard cannot pull and catch a linebacker in space.
Not effectively, no. So fit is everything. Talent in a vacuum is absolutely meaningless.
Precisely.
But you know what stops a great offensive line?
A better defensive line. And segment 5 is all about that. Defense wins championships.
The front 7. And specifically the defensive line. This is the deepest, most talented unit in the entire draft. This is the meat and potatoes we talked about.
It's loaded. I mean, the top of this board is just littered with defensive linemen. Let's start on the edge. Clark Osborne, Vanderbilt. LEDG, left defensive end.
He's a top 5 talent. Speed rusher. He's the guy offensive coordinators have nightmares about.
And the grade that just jumps out at me, play recognition.
That is exceptionally rare for a speed rusher. Usually the speed guys just pin their ears back and run upfield. They have one goal, sack the quarterback.
Tunnel vision.
Exactly. But sometimes they run right past the play, they get trapped, they get screened. Osborne has the elite speed to turn the corner, but he also has the play recognition to sniff out a screen pass or a draw play.
Yeah.
He sees the guard pulling and reacts instantly. He stops the run on his way to the quarterback.
So he's not a liability in the run game.
He's an asset. That's what makes him a game wrecker.
And on the other side, Mark Jenkins, Michigan.
Michigan again, Ringer on offense, Jenkins on defense. They're producing trenches in Ann Arbor. Jenkins is a right end, another elite speed rusher.
And in the middle, Brad Morrow, Oregon State.
The anchor. 304 pounds, power rusher, awareness, and a play recognition. He's not going to run around you. He's going to run through you. He collapses the pocket from the inside, which is a quarterback's worst nightmare.
It forces the quarterback to scramble.
Right into the arms of Osborne or Jenkins waiting on the edge. It's perfect synergy.
So let's look at the Chicago Bears. Coach Remo, 357.
Oh, the Bears. This is where it gets exciting.
2 wins, 15 losses.
It doesn't get much worse than that. That is a full season of pain and suffering.
But look at their needs. L-G-E she, red, G-she.
It is written in the stars. This could not have lined up more perfectly for them.
It perfectly aligns. They are sitting at the top of the draft, desperate for defensive linemen, and this is the best defensive line class in years.
This is the moment where the Bears franchise transforms. They can take Osborne or Jenkins. They can trade back a few spots, pick up extra capital, and maybe get Morrow plus another piece. They have the opportunity to instantly turn their defensive front from a liability into a dominant strength.
It's a franchise-altering draft for them if they play their cards right.
If they mess this up, if they overthink this and draft a quarterback when the rest of their roster isn't ready, or draft a wide receiver, I just don't know what to tell you.
It's a layup. You just have to make it. Don't dribble it off your foot.
Just put the ball in the basket.
But it's not just the line. The linebackers have some interesting versatility, too.
Yes, scheme versatility is the key here. Josh Smart from Clemson at Samline linebacker, he's a run stopper. Pure and simple.
And Peyton Graham from LSU at Mike.
6'1", 250 pounds, awareness, another run stopper. He's the field general for the defense. He's the guy with the green dot, calling the plays, making the checks.
The quarterback of the defense.
Exactly. And then you have Julian Gutierrez from Michigan State at will.
And he's a pass coverage archetype.
And that is so vital in today's game. In a league where everyone is throwing the ball all over the field, where tight ends like Jesus Enriquez exist, you need a linebacker who can drop back into zone and not look lost. You need a guy who can run with a tight end down the seam.
He's the modern linebacker.
He is.
Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. Coach Commish Jeff, 9-8 record, right on the bubble.
The mediocre middle. It's the hardest place to draft. You aren't bad enough to get the elite blue-chip talent, but you aren't good enough to win a title.
And their needs are listed as Mike and Will.
This group offers really good mid to late round 1 value. They probably can't get the top edge rushers like Osborne, but if they can sit there and snag Peyton Graham or Julian Gutierrez, suddenly that defense gets a lot smarter and a lot tougher right up the middle.
You solidify the spine of your defense.
And that's how you go from 9-8 to 11-6. You stop the easy yards over the middle.
Moving to the back end. The secondary. Cornerbacks.
You can never have enough corners. In this league, with 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, you need 3 or 4 good ones on your roster at all times.
And the top name is Marcus Miles, Texas A&M.
Third Aggie we've mentioned as a round 1 talent. Richter at QB, Alfaro at WR, and now Miles at corner.
They are having a massive draft. Miles is a man-to-man archetype.
Which requires confidence, it requires a short memory, you're out on island, you don't have safety help all the time, you have to turn your hips and run with the best athletes in the world.
And Jamarcus Morris from Virginia Tech is another man-to-man specialist with A awareness, so you have a couple of good options there.
Yep, some solid depth.
And the safeties. I feel like safety is a position that gets undervalued until you get burned deep for a touchdown.
Or until you can't stop the run to save your life. And that's where Eddie Stump comes in. Eddie Stump, USC, strong safety.
Run support archetype. A play recognition.
He's basically an extra linebacker, isn't he?
He is. He plays in the box. He fills the alley on run plays. If you have a defensive front that leaks a little bit, a guy like Stump cleans up the mess. He's the eraser for the run game.
So let's talk team fits. The Cleveland Browns, Coach Dom at Essex.
11-6, a good team, a playoff team.
But they are desperate for SS help. It's right there on their list.
Stump fits them perfectly. It's a hand-and-glove fit. You plug him in, and suddenly your run defense tightens up by 20 yards a game.
Yeah.
He brings an attitude of physicality to that secondary.
And then there's the Philadelphia Eagles, Coach Kane's Bucks 1.
The dynasty, 14-3, defending 2X champions.
And somehow they have a need at free safety. And that's where Teddy Dixon from Ole Miss comes in. He's a hybrid archetype, which means he can cover and he can support the run. Look, the Eagles don't need a savior. They don't need a guy to come in and change the franchise.
No, they just need a piece.
They need a cog in the machine, finding a gem like Dixon later in the draft. That's how the dynasty keeps rolling. They plug a hole before it becomes a real problem. They don't have weaknesses because they draft before the weakness appears.
So let's zoom out. What does this all mean? We've covered the board. We've seen the monsters in the trenches, the big question marks at QB, the unicorns at TE. What's the big takeaway?
It means Season 85 is about identity.
Talk to me about that. What do you mean?
The teams that draft well this year are the ones who accept the identity of this class. It's about building inside out. The GMs who draft an Osborne, a Jenkins, or a Ben Johnson, they are the ones building for the next decade.
Not the flashy picks.
Not at all. The QBs like Richter and Morton will get the headlines tomorrow. They always do. The media will love it. But 3 years from now, we're going to look back and say the teams that drafted the linemen on either side of the ball were the smart ones.
It's the classic draft strategy versus team needs debate. Look at the Bears again. Coach Remo 357. They need everything. Do they draft for need because the draft aligns with them? Yes, it's an easy choice.
Right.
But look at the Bills. Coach Bix 14. They needed to be a har. If Troy Lippett falls, it's a steal. But if he's gone, do they panic? Do they reach for a second-tier guy just because they need a receiver?
And that's the danger zone. That's where GMs get fired, reaching for a need instead of taking the best player available. If Lippett is gone, take the best defensive lineman on your board. Make your strength even stronger. Don't take a Beads-grade receiver just to fill a hole on a spreadsheet.
And I want to leave the listener with this final provocative thought. If you are the GM of the Raiders, Coach Gooch, 5-12 record, your job might be on the line this season. Do you take the safe Gene Richter, knowing he probably won't bust, but might just be average, a game manager?
The guy who gets you to 8 and 9.
Or do you swing for the fences with the mobile Peter Morton, hoping he's the next legend, but risking a total flameout that gets you fired?
It's the ultimate gambler's choice. Do you play to not lose, or do you play to win? The safe floor keeps you employed for 2 more years. The high ceiling gets you a statue outside the stadium, or fired by Monday. That one decision defines franchises.
The clock is ticking, folks. The war room is heating up. Check that scouting board one last time.
Trust your board.
Make your pick.
Don't mess it up.
We'll see you on the other side.